Thank you. So yeah, I mean, you know, remember, that's a TV show. That's something where they have to have the music playing loud enough to be picked up for cameras, and the singers need to be singing, and those are fans wanting to cheer on their group, and they, you know, want to say that, hey, we're with you with this, we're doing it with you, and we are going to be so loud. And that's another thing too, is that, you know, you don't get that weekly interaction with your music stars like we do in the West. Yeah, with that, you also have, of course, the fan bases that I was talking about before. Yeah, you have your fan bases that I was talking about before. You know, you literally take on a new identity. You know, it's part of these companies to create a fan base name for your different artists. You choose an official color, and you choose an official, sometimes, symbol of what of how you represent, how this fan base is represented of itself. And you know, that is just something that every company needs to think of eventually. They literally need to sit down and decide what is the color they're going to choose and what is the fan base name. But I think the most interesting part of that is that the actual music doesn't necessarily fit under one genre. And here's where that last 60 seconds of dancing comes from, is here's 8 clips of a couple hit songs throughout the past year.
나 지금 할 말 있어 남자가 사랑할 땐 꼭 항상 곁에 머물는 선물 날 밀어내지 마 우리 둘이 지금 여기서 사라지기 전에 I gotta 보이 멋진 한 번만 눈 감아줘.
Now, for some reason, I mean, like, hopefully you've heard, you know, hopefully you heard that, you know, it's a lot of different sounds. I heard jazz, I heard 80s synths, you know, you hear a little DJ scratching, whatever it may be. It's a lot of different sounds that get placed under one umbrella of being pop music. And I think that's really interesting that you know, taking this all into consideration, is that for some reason it's all supposed to be placed in this genre, in this niche. And you know, mainstream music in America, at least, you know, you have hip hop, you have dance music, you have pop, you have you know, R&B, whatever it is, and it all just kind of goes into one mainstream identity. But for some reason, K-pop music is supposed to all fit under one sort of genre, and I think that thinking is a little skewed, and this is why I really, truly, truly believe that K-pop music, it's a culture. It's not only being a part of, you know, liking the music, but it's also liking all the things that come with K-pop. It's liking the fan bases. It's liking all these artists going on music programs every week. It's liking, you know, all the different sounds that come from an artist. I would venture to say that an artist might put out, you know, a very dancey song, and then they might do a slow ballady song with, you know, acoustic guitars and drums, and you may love it just as much. I truly think that fans love the culture of it, and, you know, other people today will be talking about, you know, cinema and dramas, and that's another part of the culture. But yeah, I truly believe it's a culture. And then, you know, with that, it comes back to that even though it is a culture, for some reason fans really do identify with one group and fan base in particular. You know, many people, they identify as Sones, or they identify as Hottest if you are in 2PM, or if you're a fan of SHINee, you're a Shawwal, or you're a So-On, as I mentioned before. And I really think that way of thinking is a little skewed, or is a little wrong in the way that, not necessarily wrong, I should say, but it's just a little, my whole point is that I really want to see K-pop move forward, and identifying strictly as one fan base won't help move the genre forward. And it's but it really is because of that willingness, that curiosity, that interest in, just checking out an artist or a song, or, even if one group describes their song as, very dancey and hip-hoppy, and you may not be into dance or hip-hop at all, you'll likely still check them out. And I really hope that interest and that excitement, or at least that curiosity, can translate into all K-pop groups. Yeah, I mean, something that I realized is that I wrote Rolling Stone's very first article on K-pop. I was really excited about this. I was so honored to write it. It was the 10 K-pop groups most likely to break America. And I was like, oh, this is so, exciting. I'm going to, fans are going to love it. But, and I wrote it with a very, unbiased opinion. I, wrote it as a way to, who I saw as being accessible to a Western audience, or an American audience in this case. But I was sort of disheartened to see there were 1,500 comments, but almost all the comments were just fans fighting with each other about how it was so sad, and they were dissing me most of the time too. It's like, just saying how this person shouldn't have been there, this person should have been there, oh my gosh, how could you not include this person, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And, it was all these fan wars, and it was so sad to see, because I saw this as a huge move. Rolling Stone is like the iconic music magazine, rock music in particular. And they were finally giving a really cool look to K-pop, and then it was all about the fan wars, essentially. So it was a little disheartening to see. But what I've seen, though, is really cool, is my little signature, I like to think, is that whenever I'm doing something shareable or listy, as it was mentioned before, I'm a writer for Fuse Music Television as well, and, in this list, 25 adorable songs about moms, I included Girls' Generation in there because they had this great song about moms, and it was really cool to see that type. It got a lot of views, it got a lot of popularity, and I'm really hoping that it was because K-pop fans were excited to see a K-pop song alongside, Elvis and Tupac and Taylor Swift. The thing that I really want to hone in is that, K-pop music, it's popular music, it's a business ultimately. These companies want to make money, and every company wants to be the first, or they want to be the trailblazer, or they want to be the best to do it wherever you are. And I think a lot of us are obviously here in America, but whatever country you're in, show enthusiasm for K-pop as the culture, as the exciting, force that it is, because, companies need to have the means to go there, and they need to have a reason to go there, or else they're just not going to do it. We all, what those Wonder Girls fans really showed to me is that, they wanted to be so connected to their idols that they were just, they're untouchables in that way. They work so hard, they're just very glamorous and very put together, but it's still hard to connect with them, especially when you don't, live in South Korea. And that's the thing that I ultimately hope fans that truly realize, is that pushing forward the actual Korean culture, or the actual K-pop culture altogether, will just, help those fans connect with your artists, whether it's your favorite or whether it's an artist that, you just, happen to be interested in or curious in. It's by pushing forward just the altogether K-pop culture and realizing that it's a culture that, hopefully you'll be able to see one day that, your favorite stars and my favorite stars will all come, and we'll all be able to connect with them on an even more personal level. Thank you so much.